Hello again, this is homework number 2 and we will start with the problem sales tax in homework number 2. So in the programming practice, the first problem, the sales tax, we are asked to write a program that will initialize the user's name and the amount of the purchase. Then the program is supposed to calculate the sales tax for this purchase, including the state and county sales tax, assuming that the sales tax for the state is 5.5% and 2% for the county. The program is then supposed to display a message to the user which has the user's name, the amount of the purchase, the state sales tax, county sales tax, the total sales tax, and the total of the sale, which is basically the purchase plus the total sales tax. So to start this, we are going to create a new project. Let's go navigate to homework 2, and then we will call this homework 2 codes. And in this one, we are going to create the first class. Let's call it sales tax, without the space, of course, and without this special character. Okay. And in sales tax, what I'm going to do here, we're going to edit that here. We're going to remove everything. Now we understand what are these, right? These are the documentation comments, but we are going to remove it for now. We're not using it. And here we are also going to remove that one, and we turn this into a main method. So here public static void main and string art, and then we clear this and we have this empty class with the empty main method. Now if we start reading this slowly, so we have write a program that will initialize user's name and amount of purchase, even though by now we should be able to actually prompt the user for these inputs. Since the code says, or the problem says, that we need to initialize them, so we are going to initialize this. So for the user's name, that's a name, so it's going to be a string. So we create a string. Let's call it username, which is equal to, when we are going to initialize this, so let's say Mike. Then the amount of purchase, so that is going to be a purchase, and it could be any value, so we can make it double. Purchase is equal to, let's say, 30.5. Alright, could be anything since we are asked to initialize this. Then the program is supposed to calculate the state and county sales tax. Now to do this, we will need the sales tax rate, right? So these two are values that we can actually set. So we can define these, and here you will notice that there is a hint that says use the value 0.02 to represent 2% and 0.055 to represent the 5.5%. So here we can say double, and we have first the state tax rate, and we can say that this is going to be 0.055, and we can create another one for the county tax rate, which is 2%, and that is going to be 0.02. Alright, so now we have the rates. Now, given this information, we are capable of calculating the, we should be able to calculate the both the state and the county taxes. So we can say double state tax is equal to, use that rate times the original purchase. Alright, do the same thing for the county tax, and use this time the county tax times the purchase. So now we have the state tax and the county tax. Now the next thing is that we would like to print, we should display a message to the user using his name the amount of the purchase, the state sales tax, the county sales tax, the total sales tax, and the total of the sale. Now this can be printed in any way you want. There is no really any specific format. So we can do it something like system.out.println. We can say something like hello, and we can say space plus username comma here is a summary of your purchase. Purchase. All right, and then we can start this in a new line. Now of course we could actually use printf. In this case you would say printf, and you would use this whole thing as a single string by replacing this with string s, and then what you would print here would be the username, so you list it as the list of outputs. Now here in this case, notice that printf, if you remember, in its most basic format, it's actually acting as a print method. So in this case we will need to create our new line manually, like this. Then we can print a series of, and here I'm going just to use the print line. So here, print line, and I'm going just to print a series of messages that shows the list of things. So the program should display the message to the user using his name, the amount of the purchase. So here, amount plus, and then here we just put the purchase. Then we can create another message here, and we say, for example, state tax, and we print the state tax here. County tax, that's a county tax. Then a message for the total tax, which would be the state tax plus. And here remember that if you do this, if you remember we talked about it in the lecture, that since we have a string here, if we add something to it, everything is going to be converted into a string. So when we do something like this, it's not really going to do the addition, and instead it's going to convert state tax to a string, county tax to a string, and then it's going to concatenate all of these strings next to each other. So in this case, if we want to for this operation to take precedence, in this case we can put them into, or surround them with parentheses, and in this case this operation would be performed first, and then the addition would be performed, in which case this is going to be converted into a string and added or concatenated to that string. So this is also something that we talked about in the lecture. The last thing that we would like to present or print to the user is the total purchase, and in this case or the total sale. So here the total sale is going to be the purchase plus all of these values, and we calculated this. So let's check this. Let's run and see what's going to happen. So here, hello Mike, here is a summary of your purchase. The purchase amount is 30.5, state tax, county tax, and the tax, the total sale tax, and finally the total sale. Of course we could make this more interesting and more readable by adding the $sign, for example. And here we could, for example, add something like line like this, compile, run, something that looks really nice. Of course, if you wanted to align everything and make it as a table, if you remember, we could use printf to format this whole message and make it really look nice and aligned, but this is something that beyond this problem, so we are not going to cover it now. So I hope this helps you understand how to calculate and print all of these messages, and that's it for this problem.